So this second demo, or it's the first demo if you watched it that way, this is about light painting in a way that I think is more conventionally thought of, which is drawing with light in midair while the shutter is open. I would actually use my phone, which has a nice small little spotlight. You know, that little flashlight on your phone is a real tiny point light source. I'm going to imitate this with my flashlight because I'm using my phone to film this, so that wouldn't work to try to use the phone. So the idea with this is that you open the shutter, click, again, lights are off, it's a bulb exposure, it won't close until you unlatch your remote there. So you open the shutter, and while the lights are off, you're going to go around with the light and you're going to paint in midair so that the camera can see the light. Now this is important. In this case, you want the light basically aiming at the camera so that it's making streaks in midair. You don't necessarily want to shine it at the subject, although you can do a combination of these things. Now what I find is tricky about this is that you kind of have to keep this moving in a way so that it's always visible to the camera, and that means that if you decide to move around the subject, you can't step in front of the light and block it, because then suddenly the line that it's creating has a gap in it. So you want to kind of do this sort of thing like this, and maybe you go down below and you do like this and you go around. And another bit of advice is I think a lot of people tend to like write on the invisible chalkboard out in front of the camera like this, all in one plane. But I think it's interesting to use three-dimensional space and go around behind things and underneath things and over the top. And if you're photographing kind of a wider area like the background back there, even though my camera isn't pointing back there, let's imagine that I'm shooting back here toward the fridge. Like if you actually went around in three-dimensional space and made lines that were forward and back and around and behind things and over, and so you'll really end up describing three-dimensional space with all of these lines. Again, I'm going to imitate this for you. By the way, you could also use gels over your lights so that you get colored lines. In fact, I'll just imitate that right now. A little purple gel over my light. And I just hold it there, but I could tape it or put a rubber band or something around it. So again, let's imagine we're doing this. Well, heck, I'll turn off the lights and actually do this. So, turn off the lights. I'm going to open up my shutter. And with my light, again, I would probably use my phone, but I'm making these little lines, these looping lines in midair. I'm going around and behind and under things like this. And if I go in front, I want to kind of maybe duck under the light a little bit and go around over here and back and forth and underneath and over the top and do. And, okay, I'm going to stop right there. And we'll see how that looks. Kind of cool. And get the lights back on. Now what's really fun is if you do some of that and then you also paint the subject with light, maybe with a different color. So what if I did purple lines all around in midair, but then I painted the subject maybe with green as a complementary color, or blue or something like that might be kind of neat. So let me think about that. For this one, I'm going to take this kind of blue-green gel, and when it's time to paint light onto the still life, I'm going to take that blue-green gel, wrap it over my flashlight, and stick the whole business up into the tube of the paper towel, so I get like a real snoot. I can really aim it very specifically at things. In fact, in doing this, I could put like one color on the little statue down here, a different color on the shoe, a different color on the flowers. You could do all these different things. So, let's try this. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along, which is kind of part of the fun. You get into this and you start improvising. So I'm going to turn off the lights. My first thing will be to make lights in midair with the purple. Yeah, I gotta think about this. I'm gonna put my paper towel roll down there. I'm gonna get my purple kind of ready to go. Leave the green gel, blue-green gel on top of the the paper towel roll, turn off my lights. Okay, are we ready? And we're gonna open up the shutter, and I'm gonna make lines in midair, circling around and up, under, and over, and back, and through the thing, and I'm gonna duck under there. So I go around to the other side, and around, and under, and shine in, do. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is go to my blue-green gel. Now that I got my blue-green gel on, now I'm gonna paint the still life with a little bit of color. In fact, as I'm getting more inspiration here, I think I might go to the other side with a little red. Crazy. I'm gonna just make stuff up on the fly, make new stuff happen as I go. Actually, this is more of a pink, but that's fine. Okay, and why don't I hit the ceiling with that blue flash that I was talking about in the other video? Because I know the mirror's still aimed that way, so there's a little blue flash up on the ceiling. And maybe just because it's not good enough for me yet, I'm going to hit the portrait with just a little bit of white light. Okay. I hope that's all translating in the video. I'm going to turn the lights back on here. Oh shoot, you know what though? I forgot to shut the shutter. And the light came back on, so that's going to be way overexposed. Actually, it's not all that bad. It's a little overexposed, but it actually is not too terrible. Tell you what, I'm going to shut the camera off. I'm going to do all that again and remember to close the shutter, and we'll look at that one when this is all done. So following on that little in-person demo, so to speak, here are some results. This is just painting with a plain white light. I think this is the white flashlight all by itself. Nothing extra. The image you saw me attempt to make on camera, I made it, but then remembered like I turned the light on and realized that I hadn't closed the shutter. Well, it really didn't turn out too bad. In fact, I kind of liked the mix of warm and cool colors. My camera was set for daylight. That light that I turned on was much more tungsten, so it's very, very warm on the right side, but all in all, not too bad. When I went and attempted it again, did much better. Remembered to close the shutter, which was a good thing. But I really like, and this is just kind of happy accident, but the circle kind of goes around the portrait, doesn't block the portrait. This is again with the flashlight, which is a little bit bigger light source with the purple gel over it. This is the phone light with a, as you can tell, kind of a green cyan gel over it. And you see it makes a much finer little line. It's not as bright, so it doesn't get too overexposed. Keep in mind, if you move the light fast, you get a thinner, darker, dimmer line. If you move the light slow or where it slows down, like right on that corner, then the light gets brighter. It loses some saturation. The faster the light goes, the dimmer the light goes, you might have a little bit more intense color. And here is just one more where I was doing that thin cyan line with the phone and additionally doing all of the painting, for the most part, the same kind of painting I was doing with the first demo. Used green on the left side, used red on the right side, still did the blue pop of light on the ceiling, hit the statue with a little bit of purple light just to change things up a little bit. And that's it.